it's Amanda here from Lolli Lulu Crafts, and today we are going to be making a gorgeous spring green floral shabby chic card. So for today's card we're using this Kaiser Craft paper pad called Botanica, and as you can see it has some elements in the back which are really pretty, and then some gorgeous patterns and plain, and also some that look a bit plain but have got like embossed, sort of shiny embossed detail on them, which is really nice. So I've picked out two pieces, including that cream with that lovely embossing and a lovely green, and then I also picked out a border from there. So next I've taken my two pieces of paper and I've cut them both to the width of my card base there, and then I've cut the depth of them, or the height of them, so that they overlap and will create that matten layer where the bottom piece is sort of poking out the bottom of my green piece. And then I'm taking my distress tool, which is actually just an embroidery thread cutter, and I'm just going around the edges of my paper and distressing each of the sides. So when you're doing this you might want to slightly cut your paper just a little wider than you want the finished look to be, to ensure that when you distress it, it doesn't come too far in on your card base. So I didn't bother to distress the top of the cream piece, after all that's going to be underneath, and actually that will keep the gluing part of it much smoother. But you can see I've distressed around all the other sides, and also I didn't distress the bottom edge of my green piece because I wanted to put that border underneath, so I just didn't feel that that was necessary, but you could do that if you wanted. It just is a personal choice on the look. So then I've cut my border to length, and then using my Cosmic Shimmer glue I'm just putting a little bit of adhesive on the top edge of my little border there, and I'm going to then stick that down to my green paper there. I then decided that I actually didn't like it entirely neat on that edge, so I just used my fingernail and scratched that little green edge a little so that it made it look a little distressed. And then I'm going to take my Cosmic Shimmer glue and stick my cream piece of paper down onto my card base, and then do the same for the green with its border. I took some of the scraps of paper and another border that I popped out and just added that to the inside to get some decoration there. Then I wanted to add my sentiment, and I wanted my sentiment to be inside my resin frame, which I've just positioned as a sort of rough, not stuck down, and then I've put some Cosmic Shimmer glue on the back of the sentiment and stuck it through the aperture so that I could position that correctly. So in order to ensure that the frame stays stuck, because although it's resin it's still got more weight than a piece of paper, I decided to use my hot glue gun. I wanted to use that later anyway for my flowers, so I popped that on and let that heat up, and then I just put some on the back of my resin frame and stuck it down onto my card base. You do want to ensure you get it fairly accurate when you position it down, because the hot glue will stick pretty quickly. So next I am going to be attaching all my flowers. I basically went through my different packets of coloured flowers, so if you've watched my videos on my lodge you'll see on there that I have pouches with, say, green flowers in one, pink in another, leaves and sort of accessories as it were, like berries and pine cones for example. So I picked out mostly from the green pack but some from the white, and just picked a selection of flowers which I'm then just put it to the side, and I'm literally just grabbing what I think might work, sort of trying it out. If I think it looks nice then I'm going to glue it down, and it is as simple as that. So obviously I've sped this up a little because otherwise it does get a little bit slow, because you are fiddling around, you're trying to see what works and trying and untrying and fiddling around with it a bit. So for this I always like to use my hot glue. I like that kind of instant, it's stuck, it's done. Flowers tend to move quite a lot, and so it's quite handy using the hot glue because that just gets them instantly stuck down. And the other good thing is that if you've got sort of little wire ends and things, you can actually stick that into the hot glue, so you don't even have to stick the actual flower head down if you don't want to, so you can get quite a nice look with that. And you could also use the wire and curl it around, say, your pokey tool to create a nice sort of curled edge to it. But there's all sorts of different things, and I just find that for me, I just like playing and seeing what works, and then sometimes I'll put the whole lot down and like the whole thing, but sometimes it's just too difficult because there's too many little individual elements and each of the flowers are moving and popping around too much. So I just do sections, like I've just did a section there, and then I'll glue that section down. By the way, you can see there I've curled that wire around my pokey tool there, and it's created just a nice sort of look, an extra sort of element that you added to it, and I quite like that with them. And sometimes I do that quite a lot with them, other times not so much. On this occasion I wanted it to sort of wrap around my frame, just sort of around that side, but also sort of coming away at the top and bottom, so it's sort of real flow to the pattern there. And I really liked those little berries. I just felt that that really worked well for the design and just added a little bit of extra interest. I decided that I wanted to add another little berry just down here, and I decided that it would be nice just to add a little bit of the colour in there, just to again just add a bit of interest, and I think that works really, really well. I really like how that turned out. I think that's so pretty. And then I thought it would be really nice to add these charms. I had this lovely metal butterfly and also this lovely sort of circular cabochon sort of in the brown colour that we've just picked up there, which I think looks really nice with sort of crystals around it, and it almost looks like it's had the border threaded through it. So all I've done here is just added some hot glue to the back of the butterfly. Now be aware that the metal of course will get hot, so watch your fingers. And then I just popped it in position and wriggled it quickly until I could have the wings so I could see the sentiment, and then I just adhered the little cabochon with the hot glue as well, and there they are both adhered, and they look pretty. I think that's just a really nice finishing touch to the card. And then the inside, I wasn't 100% on that. I think it's a little simple, but I decided to leave it as it was since the front was so intricate and so much going on. And that is our card finished. So I hope you have enjoyed making this card with me. Don't forget, if you're on YouTube, to hop on over to the blog post to see loads of photographs of the finished card, plus of course all the links to the products used, etc, etc. All you need to do to be able to go over to the blog post is go to the paragraph below the video here on YouTube, click where it says show more, and then you will see the link to the blog post. Okay, so I hope you've enjoyed. I'd love to hear what you think as always, but for now, otherwise, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you again soon. Bye for now. Bye.
This flower's blooming all the same. The grass gets greener every day in our place. I'll visit every Wednesday, our imaginary hey boy. We'll see you soon. Miles scatter over me and you. Time whispers into my ear and overwhelms petty fears. He speaks so sweet, he says, you'll get days that equal years. Travel back to Navy Pier, won't we, dear? Everywhere that you dare.